You can benefit more so from a health perspective by gaining some muscle and just improving your body composition overall.
My stance is on the opposing side for this. I would tend to lean more towards strength for a beginner.
This is going to be a debate.
This is a debate. I'm starting spicy.
Welcome back, folks, to the Beyond Reps and Sets YouTube channel. My name is Adam Chang, and I'm a registered physiotherapist, owner of Lift Physiotherapy, and co-host of this channel.
And I am the other half, some say the better looking half of VRS.
This is going to be a debate.
This is a debate. I'm starting spicy. My name is Clifton and I am a certified personal trainer for about 5 years now.
And folks, we have a debate today. As a beginner, should you focus on hypertrophy goals or strength goals when it comes to your fitness?
Right. So first and foremost, we got to define hypertrophy versus strength. What is the actual difference when people bring up these styles of training? Hypertrophy is, we're discussing more of the growth of a muscle, right? Whereas when we're talking about strength, we're looking at the nervous system's ability to allow for max output using your muscles when they contract. So just lifting heavy shit, right? So, yeah. So, in terms of your opinion, where do you stand, my friend, in terms of a beginner coming to you to lift?
My opinion lies in hypertrophy. Okay, so my idea is that you can benefit more so from a health perspective by gaining some muscle and just improving your body composition overall. Because what we know is that the trajectory of strength and hypertrophy kind of go in the same direction. Now, we also know that when you start off, strength actually happens first, regardless of what you're training for. If you're doing, let's say, higher repetitions at moderate weight, so moderate resistance, so let's say you're doing anywhere between 8 to 15 repetitions at to maybe a 7 out of 10 RPE, rate of perceived exertion.
Check some other videos where we go in depth on RPE.
Then technically you're working in a hypertrophy range, rep range. Now, what will happen for the first 8 to 12 weeks is that your neuromuscular system is going to get better at recruiting fibers, but you may not actually see a growth in muscle. But after that 3-month process, you will start to notice some gain in size.
So my stance is on the opposing side for this. I would tend to lean more towards strength for a beginner. So I'm going against Adam today. So when I'm thinking about a beginner, I think it's important for us to identify what is a beginner. What's that archetype look like? So when I think of a beginner, I'm thinking of someone who hasn't trained before, has never lifted a weight, maybe has done some sports back in high school or is currently doing those sports but has never actually gone in towards a gym consistently on a program and is looking to burn excess fat and develop a certain amount of body fat or healthier body fat in the pursuit of better health, optimal health. So having looked at that and looking at what an advanced lifter is someone who has consistent experience with training and using weights for, I would say, around 10 plus years. Most intermediates are actually probably beginners. And most advanced people, or people that say they might be advanced, is actually a smaller percentage than we might actually consider once we look at these sort of standards. So now that we've established what's a beginner, what's an advanced lifter, if you're someone who lacks a lot of the things that we speak about, stability, lacks a certain amount of mobility, doesn't actually understand how to move with these sort of exercises, their technique might need a little bit more work, That's where I would see focusing in on improving their strength might be the better move. Starting them off on a natural progression, using body weight and free weight exercises, getting them comfortable to squat, hinge, and press, and row, then progressing them up on the basis of progressive overload, because you're going to get both benefits of a little bit of hypertrophy as well as muscle growth, or muscle growth along with the pursuit of strength. That's why you see a lot of strongmen, a lot of bodybuilders not bodybuilders, a lot of powerlifters, they have a certain amount of muscle mass, even though that's not their primary goal.
Okay, I'll take that as an answer.
He's like, okay, all right.
I think you did the right thing by clarifying.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you. That means so much to me.
What the beginner, intermediate, and advanced lifter is.
We know a lot of people that fall into that intermediate, maybe beginner.
The trouble that I find is in that way of thinking is when you tell a beginner to work on strength, they're just going to lift way too heavy.
Yeah.
So you may be gaining strength by lifting lighter and getting more of a muscle pump. I think it's actually safer for a beginner to do that versus, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do 5x5s and then not be able to walk the next day. I'm talking back squats, let's say, right?
Very systemically taxing exercise as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So when we talk about hypertrophy rep ranges, we're going to get more practice in as well. And you're not going to be stressing the joints as much and getting that systemic fatigue.
So two very good points you made there. Having someone there, having the know-how or a certain program with either of these would be beneficial, especially for a beginner, because they're going to be seeing the most potential for muscle growth in that beginning phase anyway. So it's not to say that either one of these wouldn't do the job. However, we're getting into the nitty-gritty. The thing I would say to combat what you just brought up would be, if the goal is strength, we can use other things other than actual weights on a bar in terms of actually just repetitions. More so just going for a body weight squat, getting them comfortable with that. Because if you're already feeling fatigue at around 5 reps, and to get to 10 would be super, super challenging for you. When we get you in a good position, which we know is difficult for a lot of people. None of those shallow squats, none of those like half reps. We're talking about full depth, up and down. I think that alone will give a lot of response, and that is a different type of strength that we're getting them comfortable with moving their own body weight. And if this is also someone who is a little bit overweight, that might be the only stimulus they need from a strength standpoint to see the growth and development that they're looking for.
And you know what? When you talk about this, it sounds a lot like you're talking about technique building.
Yes.
And skill acquisition.
I think we're both, like, that's the crutch of all of what, because neither of our arguments can stand if the technique isn't sound.
Yeah. So I guess if we were to summarize this, folks, we're both saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think the argument between strength and hypertrophy for beginners is probably an argument you don't need to have, because you have to develop the skill and the technique to support the amount of training and the volume required to either gain hypertrophy or build strength. Yeah. So at the end of the day, just go in there, have fun, make sure you have a good program that takes into consideration rest and recovery. And gradually over time, as you get better at doing these lifts, then you can start to venture out into the powerlifting realm, the strength, specifically strength realm, maybe even want to do some strongman work, right?
Some bodybuilding, aesthetic-based work, sports-specific work, and ultimately lean on professionals' advice. You know, there's so many different facets towards achieving that ideal body type. or ideal body composition that we're looking for when we're looking at people that are in the gym. So be sure to look at our nutritionists, our dietitians, our trainers, our physiotherapists for advice as you go through that training journey. So that is it for our strength and hypertrophy debate. If you agree with me, comment down below. And if you agree with Adam in terms of his hypertrophy, comment below. And tell us the type of training that you prefer to do at home. My name is Cliff.
And I'm Adam.
And we want to thank you for traveling beyond reps and sets. See you later.